Hey, what's up, my loungies? Welcome to Toxic Tea Lounge. Everything in this video is allegedly. Let's chat. Okay, so in this segment, we are only going to be talking about the Diddy trial, okay? So we have an update with that because y'all know it started. And we have Cardi and Steffon Diggs popping out. Now, before we get into all of this hot-ass tea, my loungies, I need everybody to like this video. Yes, please make sure to show this video some love. Now, Cardi B, y'all know she has been out in the town with her new boo thing, Steffon Diggs. We don't know if it's real or not. Okay, maybe she's having fun popping out, enjoying her single life or whatever the case may be. Seems like she's having some fun. It looks like he's enjoying his time with Cardi B also. And hopefully it's not serious. I mean, they look cute or whatever, but at the end of the day, we already know how Steffon Diggs moves. He's not going to just miraculously just turn into this faithful, respectful man. Okay, I'm pretty sure he has some good things about him. But when females want to deal with a man for real, and they want to really take it there, being faithful is one of the things that it has to be a must. And Steffon Diggs don't give that, so hopefully Cardi don't get too wrapped up into the eggplant and really start falling head over heels, because it's not going to work out. Okay, so now we're going to get into the Diddy trial, okay? So I have a slight cough, so I'm going to try to get through this. And also, it's going to be a lot of reading, okay? So this is from a transcript from CBS News, okay? And then I'm going to periodically just give you my opinions on the things that's being said. Okay, so trial schedule. Opening statements in the Sean Diddy Combs federal SEX trafficking and racketeering are expected to start today at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. First, the jury must be sworn in. Trial proceedings are expected to go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily for the first week. Then 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily the following weeks. The trial is expected to last 8 to 10 weeks, just to let y'all know how long this trial might last. Combs rejected a plea deal days before the trial. Combs rejected a plea deal that was offered in the final pretrial hearing after he pleaded not guilty to all counts, including transportation to engage in prostitution and sex trafficking. During the pretrial hearing on May 1st, Judge Aaron Sabarian, asked Combs to confirm he was of sound mind and not on any type of drugs, and then asked Combs if he rejected the prosecution's offer. Yes, I do, Combs said. Details of what was offered in the potential plea deal were not given. Combs enters the courtroom. Combs entered the courtroom at around 8:51 a.m., wearing a sweater, beige or light gray, over a collared shirt and what appears to be khaki pants. His mother and 6 children were seated in the second row behind the defense. He gave them a thumbs up, made a heart shape with his hands, and blew a kiss. The kids smiled and pumped their fists. Combs put on glasses and asked for more water, so he was dehydrated. The jury is selected. The 12 jury members and 6 alternates have been selected, and the jury is seated. The group includes 12 men and 6 women. The jury is seated and sworn in. The jury is sworn in and being given their instructions. Okay? Opening statements begin. Federal prosecutors have started laying out their case against Combs for the jury. To the public, he was Puff Daddy, or Diddy, a cultural icon, a businessman, larger than life. But there was another side to him, a prosecutor said. The prosecution said Combs had an inner circle of bodyguards and employees who helped cover up crimes for 20 years. They said Combs abused his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura for years and that he, violated her brutally, flinging her around like a rag doll after finding out she was dating another man. Jealousy? Prosecutors said Combs had impossible demands. When employees failed to meet them, he threw things at them, pressured them to take drugs, and essayed one. Okay? Combs relied on inner circle, prosecution says. Prosecutors said evidence will show Combs' business made him rich and powerful by relying on an inner circle of bodyguards, chiefs of staff, and other high-ranking employees who worked to promote his power and carefully cultivated his reputation. They said Combs expected his inner circle to cater to his desires, including sexual ones. He used his resources to sexually exploit multiple women, they said, adding, "There's evidence Combs had a man car set on fire and dangled a woman over a balcony." This case is not about a celebrity's private sexual preferences. Prosecutors said Combs used his power to force people into having sex. They said he threatened them, drugged them, and used violence. They also alleged he transported women across state lines and even out of the country for sex acts. This case is not about celebrities' private sexual preferences, the prosecutor said. The prosecutor went on to describe a graphic sex act including a male escort and Ventura, endless resources, and a loyal inner circle. Prosecutors said that they would show how Combs' inner circle worked on damage control, including trying to stop the release of the 2016 security tape of Combs attacking Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel. They say he tried to pay off a hotel security guard with a wad of cash, then had another security guard broker the deal. He gave the guard a brown paper bag containing $100,000 in cash in exchange for the tape. Prosecutors said jurors will see the signed agreement barring the hotel security guard from speaking after being paid. Witnesses for the prosecution. Prosecutors said they will call two women, including Cassie, to describe Combs' freak-offs in painstaking detail. Jurors will hear from some of Combs' employees, including a personal assistant he alleged forced himself on sexually and others he ordered to buy drugs. They will detail how they were expected to keep quiet, the prosecution said. Escorts will testify how Combs directed them to touch each other and that he filmed certain acts, they said. Evidence of freak-offs. Prosecutors said jurors will see videos of Combs' so-called freak-offs, which he alleged used to blackmail people. They said jurors will hear Combs directing people to see them high on ecstasy, pretending to enjoy themselves. Videos and pictures show Combs beating a woman during a freak-off. Prosecutors said jurors will also see evidence of injuries from an attack that happened less than 1 year ago, they said. Prosecutors said evidence will also show jurors what was set inside Combs' home when they were searched, like guns and so-called med bag of drugs, lubricant, and high heels. So he was ready and prepared. Combs' defense gives opening statements. Combs' defense team opens saying the case is not complicated and that it's about voluntary adult choices and consensual relationships. This case is not about what you heard on the news, they told the jury. They said their defense will tell the story of a man from Harlem who created a lawful business from nothing and gave people opportunities. People are drawn to him, they said. On the racketeering charge, they said no witnesses will say they were part of a corrupted enterprise because there was not one. Okay. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking, they said, adding if Combs was charged with DV or assault, that they would not be here now. The defense told the jury that Combs is a drug user and you may know of his love of baby oil, but those are not federal crimes. Girl. Okay, so I'm just going to let y'all know this right off the bat. Once Cassie came out, I believed her. Okay, that it was too detailed. It was like, why would she come out of nowhere and just start, targeting Diddy out of order this time? I believe Cassie. I believe that Diddy is a monster behind the scenes, and all of his antics is coming to the light. Okay, if there are freak off tapes and evidence and everything else and people's statements basically corroborating the same story and experiences, 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. Okay, sometimes people lie, sometimes people don't, and in this case, I think majority of the people actually experience these behaviors from Diddy. Now, like I said, that is my opinion. This is not facts or anything. The trial is still going on, so the facts are still being presented. But from what I'm hearing, Diddy's side need to go sit down, okay? Because now they trying to paint it as Cassie was, an abuser also, and that's just what it was. When we seen that tape, it wasn't given that at all, okay? So let's get in the rest of this stuff. Okay, so Combs is not charged with being a jerk. The defense told jurors Sean Combs has a bad temper, that sometimes he gets so angry he's out of control, and some evidence will not portray him in a good light. They said jurors might think Combs is a jerk at times, but that's not what he's being charged with, being a jerk. The defense claimed any violence shown in the trial is not connected to any racketeering, sex trafficking, or prostituting. Okay, but that can also go into him being, coercing and stuff like that with the people. You are not here to judge Combs and his actual preferences, the defense said. We know it's not about his preferences, it's more than that. So y'all is really reaching, okay? The role of jealousy. The defense told jurors that they will hear from women who made free choices every single day for years and were all getting something from Combs. They said to watch closely the role jealousy plays in the trial from the witnesses and Combs. Evidence from over 20 years will show the same women remain in consensual relationships with Combs for years, and that breaches of trust and jealousy drove domestic violence, the defense said. They also said jurors may see things that make them uncomfortable, like kinky sex. Girl, it's definitely probably going to look more than that. Was this person actually kidnapped? Listen to her testimony, Combs' defense attorney said. The drug trafficking allegations are linked to personal drugs for Combs and the woman he was with, not an enterprise, the defense said. He did not commit any of these acts. The defense went through many of the allegations against Combs and told jurors that witnesses may lie to corroborate the claims. Combs' payment to the hotel security guard was to prevent bad publicity for both he and Cassie, not to obstruct a law enforcement investigation. Yeah, right. The defense said that there was no kidnapping and Combs was not involved in the alleged arson. They said the employee allegedly worked for Combs for over a decade and asked to work for him after her employment ended. So now they're making it that way. Combs paid for corn actors, not prostitutes. Combs is charged with 2 counts of transportation for purposes of prostituting, but his lawyers claimed he was paying men for their time and experiences as corn actors. Jurors will hear from a company that advertises online for time and experience with sex, not actual sex, the defense said. They urge jurors to listen closely to the evidence and not to impose your moral beliefs. I'm pretty sure people are going to go by the evidence and what they're seeing. And yeah. So the lunch break happened. Court is breaking for lunch until 1:15 p.m. when the first witness is expected to testify. Here we go. Jurors were sworn in Monday morning after a delay on Friday over whether the defense could question one of Combs' accusers about her history with violence. Jurors were asked about familiarity with celebrities. Hundreds of potential jurors were screened for the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. They were asked to fill out questionnaires. Members of the jury pool were asked if they were familiar with a list of some 190 celebrities, including Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and Mike Myers. Though it was unclear how or if those names are related to the trial, they were also asked if they were victims of SA and if they could be fair and impartial after seeing videos of SA explicit content and violence. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. Before starting his job with LAPD in 2018, Flores worked for a company that provides security to high-rise buildings and hotels. He also was a U.S. Army reservist for over 15 years. Prosecution calls LAPD officer as first witness. Israel Flores, a Los Angeles police officer, is the prosecution's first witness. He worked in the hotel in LA Century City area where the 2016 security tape of Combs and his then girlfriend Ventura came from. Officer describes 2016 hotel incident. Flores said there was a call about a woman in distress at a hotel. He said he checked the cameras and saw a male pacing back and forth on the 6th floor. He did not see a woman in the video and thought something must have happened, he said. He said he did not know who the man was at first, but recognized Combs when he arrived on the floor and saw him in a towel. Ventura was in a corner, he said, but he didn't know who she was until he went home and told his wife what happened. You're not gonna leave. Flores said Ventura appeared scared and was in the corner covered up in a hoodie. Combs was slumped over wearing a towel and socks, he said. Flores said Ventura wanted to get her phone and bag, but Combs told her, "You're not gonna leave." He said he told Combs she's leaving if she wants to. He went back to the room with them and stuck his foot in the door to keep it open, he said. There was also another man sitting in the bedroom who was not engaging, he said. Combs threw a stack of money at the guard. Combs and Ventura continued arguing before she ultimately left the hotel room, Flores said. He said Combs called over to him. He turned around and Combs was holding a stack of money. He threw it at me, Flores said. Don't tell anyone, he said Combs told him. Flores did not remember how much money Combs threw, but showed it was about the length of one's thumb to pinky. He said he did not take the money. Combs pinned after trying to grab guard's phone. Ventura left the hotel, but Flores said he didn't know what happened to her afterwards. He asked if she wanted police called, but she kept saying she just wanted to leave. Flores said Combs thought he was being recorded and grabbed the security guard's phone when they were advising him about the hotel rules. Flores said he grabbed Combs and pinned him, then went into the hallway to take a picture of the property damage. Flores said he discussed the incident with a supervisor and other security guards and showed them the tape. The prosecution had no further questions. Prosecution plays 2016 hotel security video. After the jury was shown the hotel's incident report from 2016, which included pictures of damage, prosecutors started playing the security tape. The video does not have audio, so Flores was describing it frame by frame. Flores said he recorded the video of the incident on his cell phone because his wife would not have believed him otherwise. He said there are no other copies and that he did not download the video from the hotel because he didn't have the password. In 2024, CNN obtained and published a video of Combs throwing Ventura to the floor, kicking her and dragging her. Ventura had accused Combs of RAPE and physical abuse in 2023 lawsuit, which also alleged he paid the hotel $50,000 for the footage. Combs apologized for his actions in the video, but denied Ventura's allegations in the lawsuit, which was settled the day after it was filed. Yeah, that was fast. Now, we spoke about Diddy's apologizing video to Cassie or whatever the case may be about the video. In that video, it sounds like he's admitting to what he did and he was wrong and he was in a different place and all this other stuff. We don't care. We don't want to hear excuses, right? Also, in that video, he never mentioned that it was a DV situation and Cassie was hitting him and this and this and that. He was protecting himself. He didn't say none of this. It basically all was on him until after now his team and lawyers and stuff is trying to portray Cassie to be an abuser. And basically that was the situation from the video. But that's not what we saw. We didn't see Cassie beating on him. We seen Diddy being the aggressor and doing the most and dragging her to the room. Like, come on. Combs' lawyers wanted video excluded from trial. Nope. Prosecutors played for jurors the 2016 hotel security video of Combs and R&B singer Cassandra Ventura, his then girlfriend in Los Angeles. Combs' lawyers tried to convince Judge Aron to exclude the footage from the trial by arguing it was only a glimpse into a complex but decade-long consensual relationship. But the judge said they failed to convince him, and he ruled prosecutors could use it. Boom! Like, what y'all thought this was? This is a key evidence, okay? Flores was questioned about why he remembers it 9 years later, but it wasn't important enough to write down at the time. Because he probably took that damn money and kept it on the hush-hush. Cross-examination of Flores begins. Flores said Combs was cordial to him when he arrived at the scene, and that he didn't see him making any aggressive movements towards Ventura when he arrived. Flores said nobody alerted law enforcement about the incident. Flores was asked why he didn't know in his report that he made at the time that Ventura wanted to leave, and that Combs said something to the effect indicating she couldn't leave. He responded he didn't think it was significant at the time because the two were going back and forth. Flores' testimony wraps up. During redirect, prosecutors asked Flores if he was to document every single detail in his report. He replied no. Flores also said that Combs did not appear drunk or high during the encounter. Flores said Combs told him he didn't want anyone to know about the incident when he handed him a stack of cash. He added that the hallway video is from motion sensor equipped cameras. His testimony then concluded. Okay, so second witness starts testimony. The next witness called to the stand is Daniel Phillip. Testified he was the manager of a male revue show in New York who said he received money from Ventura to have sex with her, and that Combs was present at the time. He testified he met Cassie through his boss in 2012 or 2013. He said his boss contacted him one evening and couldn't find any black dancers as requested. So Phillip was asked if he'll mind going to do the job himself. It was at a hotel in Gramercy Park for a bachelorette party. Phillip testified that he was expecting to do a striptease and then leave. Then he arrived, however. Ventura greeted him at her hotel room and asked him if it was okay if it would be just the two of them. He said he was expecting to see a group of women in the room, but it was only her. She was wearing lingerie, and she invited him into the room. Ventura told him it was her birthday and her husband wanted to do something special, he testified. She asked if he wouldn't mind rubbing baby oil on her and giving her a massage and see where things went from there. Phillip testified he didn't know her name at the time, but later learned it was Ventura. He testified that he and Ventura ended up having sex while Combs observed and performed a sex act. Ventura then gave him several $1,000s, Phillip testified. Combs then asked if he would like to continue seeing them. Phillip testified. Ventura then took his phone number and he left the hotel. A few minutes later, Ventura texted him, asking him to send her an intimate photograph. She then asked him if he could come back to see her again, which he then did, Phillip testified. Witness describes encounter at hotel. Phillip testified he entered the room and saw a man sitting on the right side of the room wearing a white robe with a bandana over his face from the nose down with a baseball cap on his head. He couldn't see the man's face clearly. He testified there were bottles of baby oil and another personal lubricant on the table. Phillip testified that as soon as the man spoke, he knew it was Combs. Further encounters followed, witness testifies. Phillip testified he engaged in similar encounters with them at two hotels as well as Combs' personal residence and Ventura's. The witness testified that whichever room they had encounters in, the curtains were always fully shut. There were candles, bottles of baby oil, and personal lubricant. He testified he was asked to pick up those things from the pharmacy on a few occasions. He testified that Combs would tell them what sex acts to do and shared graphic details. I believe all of this. He testified the violence came out of nowhere, that he found it terrifying, and that he didn't know what to do. Phillips said he didn't intervene or report the incident because he was afraid. So witness testifies he saw Combs attack Ventura. Phillips testified he saw Combs attack Ventura at her residence. He testified that Ventura was on her computer when Combs called to her. She told him to hold on a second, and then a bottle flew past her and struck the wall. He testified that Combs walked over to her and dragged her by her hair into the bedroom, and that it sounded as though he was slapping her as she was screaming, "I'm sorry." And we could see that is that could possibly be him, because we seen it in the video how he dragged and threw stuff at her and all type of things. The defense started its cross-examination by asking Phillip if the mail revenue service he worked for prohibited prostitutes. Phillip said it was prohibited. The defense asked if it was his job to help build up the revenue and whether he helped develop the business model. Phillips said he did. So this is supposed to be Philip, okay, the one that, was doing this stuff. Like, this man, I don't know, maybe it's a sketch, but child. Okay, so it's going to still continue. The trial's still going on. The transcripts are definitely going to be online, and we're going to be reading it and talking about it. But like I said, in my personal opinion, I believe the things that are being said about Diddy, because throughout the years, me growing up and stuff like that, it's always been some type of weird energy about Diddy and the things surrounding him and the things that's put out on him. Now, a lot of people are doing these things in the industry and it's not getting caught because they have that power. Okay, it really only takes one person to have the balls enough to expose one of these monsters. Okay, I believe Cassie. I believe a lot of the people that's going to probably be testifying, because I feel like they're speaking on their true experiences. Now, there might be a couple, a batch or so that just trying to follow the bandwagon and trying to seem relevant and just trying to be a part of the story and probably never really experienced it for real. Those are some weirdos. Those type of people mess it up for people that actually, have victims out there that has to come out and speak their truth, okay? Not everybody is a liar. Not everybody's trying to take the black man down, okay? Let's cut it out with the bullshit, all right? Of course, they're going to try to portray Cassie as an abuser and, oh, she's crazy and this and this and that. Like, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it, okay? That's bullshit. Even if she did hit him, she probably was defending herself. You know what I'm saying? We already seen what he's capable of in an actual video footage. So a lot of the things that's being said to him, about him, can be accurate. Because if you could do that to a female and try to drag her back in the room for whatever sicko reason that you possibly can think of, then you're capable of doing a lot more. And that a lot more is the things that's being said about him, okay? Now, the video footages and stuff and all the evidence that they're going to put out on this trial, we are going to be talking about it, okay? Just like the damn Tory trial. A lot of the stuff that was coming out wasn't even accurate evidence, wasn't really pointing to Tory, no nothing. And look how that trial ended up. It ended up him being arrested and doing that time, okay? Now, in this case, it's actual facts and actual footages, actual witnesses. That story is not switching up as of right now. Okay, so we're going to see how this goes. Let me know how y'all feel about it down in the comments below. Okay, I know a lot of people is going to be like, oh, you're biased. Oh, no. I don't care. I am going by how I feel about it since it came out, since Cassie came out and everybody else started coming out. I already had a feeling that he's a monster and he's a weirdo and he think because he's Diddy he could get away with it. And that's not how this works, all right? So hopefully nobody on his side is trying to pay off the judge and pay off whoever, because that's not fair. Okay, let me know how you feel about it down in the comments below, and we will talk about it in another video. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Until then, toodaloos, bye-bye.